Hello, Billionairettes. Hope you've had a beautiful day so far. My name is Vanessa Black. I'm one of the owners of Billionairettes, and so glad that you are here. If you've been joining us, you know we are currently diving into The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. If you just have The Science of Getting Rich, it's going to look a little different than this book. This has 9 books in it, so that's why you might be wondering, like, why does mine look different? That's why it has the collection of Wallace D. Wattles' book. So, this is one of my favorite books in the entire world. It's definitely a book that it's not just like a one-time listen, one-time reading. Literally, it's a repetition of it over and over and over again. If you're serious about accumulating riches in your life, it works. It's proven to work for myself. And I remember when I first picked up The Science of Getting Rich, where I was, and there was no physical, tangible riches, okay, but there was riches on the way. So, as long as we implement what we're learning here in The Science of Getting Rich, and you hold on to that vision like we discussed in the last chapters, hold on to the vision, okay, get detailed, get clear, form that mental picture of your vision, of what you want, of your desires, of your goal, of you, okay? Hold on to that vision, get clear on it. Remain grateful. Gratitude is going to connect you with power. Okay, gratitude is so important. It connects you with power, and start thanking God for it already. Thank the universe, thank God. Okay, it's already on the way, and you have to claim it. You have to receive it. You don't need to pray. He discussed, you don't need to pray every single day for the same thing. Once you pray, you believe it, that you receive it, and it's yours. It's done. And that's the power of understanding the science, understanding truth. This should take away all doubt, all worry in your life. So, let's dive right into it. We are on chapter 9, How to Use the Will. How to use the will. Talked about thinking in a certain way, gratitude, how do riches come to you, increasing life, the right to be rich, the first principle of The Science of Getting Rich. Is opportunity monopolized? Okay? No, it's not. So let's go into chapter 9, How to Use the Will. Cheers to you. Let's do this. To set about getting rich in a scientific way, you do not try to apply your willpower to anything outside of yourself. You have no right to do so anyway. It is wrong to apply your will to other men and women in order to get them to do what you wish done. It is a flagrantly wrong to coerce people by mental power as it is to coerce them by physical power. If compelling people by physical force to do things for you reduces them to slavery, compelling them by mental means accomplishes exactly the same thing. The only difference is in methods. If taking things from people by physical force is robbery, then taking things by mental force is robbery also. There is no difference in principle. You have no right to use your willpower upon another person, even for his own good, for you do not know what is for his good. The Science of Getting Rich does not require you to apply power or force to any other person in any way whatsoever. There is not the slightest necessity for doing so. Indeed, an attempt to use your will upon others will only tend to defeat your purpose. You do not need to apply your will to do things You do not need to apply your will to things in order to compel them to come to you. That would simply be trying to coerce God and would be foolish and useless. You do not have to try to compel God to give you good things, and more than you have to use your willpower to make the sun rise. Any more than you have to use your willpower to make the sun rise. The sun just rises. You do not have to use your willpower to conquer an unfriendly deity, or to make stubborn and rebellious forces do your bidding. Substance is friendly to you, and is more anxious to give you what you want than you are to get it. To get rich, you need only to use your willpower upon yourself. To get rich, you need only to use your willpower upon yourself. When you know what to think and do, then you must use your will to compel yourself to think and do the right things. That is a legitimate use of the will in getting what you want. To use it in holding yourself to the right course. Use your will to keep yourself thinking and acting in a certain way. Do not try to project your will or your thoughts or your mind out into space to act on things or people. Keep your mind at home. It can accomplish more there than elsewhere. Use your mind to form a mental image of what you want and to hold that vision with faith and purpose. And use your will to keep your mind working in the right way. So in that little paragraph, he literally, Wallace just goes into like the main key things to do. If you're wondering, okay, what are my next steps? So use your mind to form a mental image of what you want and to hold that vision with faith and purpose. And use your will to keep your mind working in the right way. Page 31. Well, at least in here. The more steady and continuous your faith and purpose, the more rapidly you will get rich, because you will make only positive impressions upon substance, and you will not neutralize or offset them by negative impressions. This right here, this is the quicker, the faster you want this to happen, you need to only make positive impressions, not offsetting or neutralizing with negative impressions. What can a negative impression be? Talking about poverty, talking about, thinking thoughts of that, doubting, okay? So that's where we want to use our continuous faith and purpose. The more steady, by using our will to think those things, okay? To make these habitual thoughts that I only talk about wealth. I only talk about wealth. I disregard conversations about poverty. The picture of your desires held with faith and purpose is taken up by the formless and permeates it to great distances throughout the universe for all we know. As this impression spreads, all things are set moving toward its realization. Every living thing, every inanimate thing, and the things yet uncreated are stirred toward bringing into being that which you want. All force begins to be exerted in that direction. All things begin to move toward you. The minds of people everywhere are influenced towards doing the things necessary to the fulfilling of your desires, and they work for you unconsciously. But you can check all this by starting a negative impression in the formless substance. Doubt or unbelief is as certain to start a movement away from you. It's as certain to start a movement away from you as faith and purpose are to start one towards you. It is by not understanding this that most people make their failure. It's an error in thinking, because there's no understanding that it makes a difference. It does anything. Every hour and moment you spend in giving heed to doubts and fears, every hour you spend in worry, every hour in which your soul is possessed by unbelief, sets a current away from you. In the whole domain of intelligent substance, all the promises are unto them that believe, and unto them only. This is what you want. This is you. Okay? This is you. This is what you want. This is your thoughts. This is your thinking. Every positive impression. Talk about wealth with faith. This is what you want. With faith that you're already claiming this thing that you want, that you desire. You already know it's on the way because you're understanding this information. Okay, your thoughts start to create the form. Okay? You start moving closer to it. Okay? you start moving closer to it. You start moving closer to it. All of it. But I'm here, I'm moving closer, I have positive thoughts. But now I get distracted. I enter into a conversation. I enter into some unbelief, some worry. I'm going back. Okay? That's where the pictures, the signs, okay? The pictures, the notes, the signs that where you're walking, your environment becomes a habit of like, you're seeing your future that's on the way to you until it becomes habitual in your mind. Okay? That's why those vision boards, vision environment that we talk about is so important. Okay? Signs. Okay? This was created on the computer. Goals. I don't know if you can see it because of the glare. Okay. We are so happy and grateful now that we are earning $50,000 per day. Okay, this is not the only one. We have others in here. Other signs to keep us focused, to keep our thoughts aligned until they become habitual, ingrained in our subconscious mind. Create yours. That picture that you formed, create that. It may sound silly, but it's science. It's not silly, it's science. It works, it's effective. All right. Every hour and moment you spend, say, giving into your doubts and fears, every hour you spend in worry, every hour in which your soul is possessed by unbelief, sets a current away from you in the whole domain of intelligent substance. All the promises are unto them that believe, and only unto them. Since belief is all important, it behooves you to guard your thoughts, and as your beliefs will be shaped to a very great extent by the things you observe and think about, it is important that you should carefully govern to what you give your attention. Again, you're in control. What do I give my attention to? I can choose that. And here the will comes into use. For it is by your will that you determine upon that things your attention shall be fixed. If you want to become rich, you must not make a study of poverty. Things are not brought into being by thinking about their opposites. Things are not brought into being about thinking about their opposites. Health is never to be attained by studying disease and thinking about disease. Righteousness is not promoted by studying sin and thinking about sin. And no one ever got rich by studying poverty and thinking about poverty. Medicine, as a science of disease, has increased disease. Religion, as a science of sin, has promoted sin. And economics, as a study of poverty, will fill the world with wretchedness and want. Do not talk about poverty. Do not investigate it or concern yourself with it. Never mind what its causes are. You have nothing to do with them. What concerns you and I is the cure. Do not spend your time in so-called charitable work or charity movements. Most charity only tends to perpetuate the wretchedness it aims to eradicate. I do not say that you should be hard-hearted or unkind and refuse to hear the cry of need, but you must not try to eradicate poverty in any of the conventional ways. Put poverty behind you and put all that pertains to it behind you and make good. Part of Billionaire Rec, we're choosing 22% of the members, the monthly payments, to go into giving. I want to make sure that we're finding something giving that is not taught, it's not going into the poverty, but it's going into what we're talking about here. Okay? We can still give, we still want to give, okay? We can still give towards movements that are abundance, wealth. Get rich. That is the best way you can help the poor. Get rich. That is the best way. And the other 22% we're actually putting back into a financial freedom account because we got to get rich, okay, for passive income. Get rich. That is the best way you can help the poor. The best way that you can help the poor is get rich. When I first heard that and read this, that was pretty powerful. And you cannot hold a mental image which is to make you rich if you fill your mind with pictures of poverty and all its attendant ills. Do not read books or papers which give circumstantial accounts of the wretchedness of the tenement dwellers, of the horrors of child labor, and so on. Do not read anything which fills your mind with gloomy images of want and suffering. You cannot help the poor in the least by knowing about these things, and the widespread knowledge of them does not tend at all to do away with poverty. What tends to do away with poverty is not the getting of pictures of poverty in your mind, but getting pictures of wealth, abundance, and possibility into the minds of the poor. You want to help people? The question to ask is, how can I get pictures of wealth, abundance, and possibility into the minds of the poor? You are not deserting the poor in their misery when you refuse to allow your mind to be filled with pictures of that misery. Poverty can be done away with, not by increasing the number of well-to-do people who think about poverty, but by increasing the number of poor people who purpose with faith to get rich. I'm going to repeat that again as well. Poverty can be done away with, not by increasing the number of well-to-do people who think about poverty, but by increasing the number of poor people who purpose with faith to get rich. The poor do not need charity, they need inspiration. Charity only sends them a loaf of bread to keep them alive in their wretchedness, or gives them an entertainment to make them forget for an hour or two. But inspiration can cause them to rise out of their misery. If you want to help the poor, demonstrate to them that they can become rich. Prove it by getting rich yourself. Inspiration. They don't need charity, they need inspiration. The only way in which poverty will ever be banished from this world is by getting a large and constantly increasing number of people to practice the teachings of this book. People must be taught to become rich by creation, not by competition. Every person who becomes rich by competition knocks down the ladder by which he rises and keeps others down. But every person who gets rich by creation opens a way for 1,000 to follow, thousands, and inspires them to do so. You are not showing hardness of heart or an unfeeling disposition when you refuse to pity poverty, see poverty, read about poverty, or think or talk about it, or to listen to those who do talk about it. Use your willpower to keep your mind off the subject of poverty and to keep it fixed with faith and purpose on the vision of what you want and are creating. Chapter 10, further use of the will. Do not read books which tell you that the world is soon coming to an end, and do not read the writing of muckrackers and pessimistic philosophers who tell you that it is going to the devil. The world is not going to the devil, it is going to God. It is a wonderful becoming. True, there may be a good many things in existing conditions which are disagreeable, but what is the use of studying them when they are certainly passing away, and when the study of them only tends to slow their passing and keep them with us? Why give time and attention to things which are being removed by evolutionary growth when you can hasten their removal only by promoting the evolutionary growth as far as your part of it goes? Why give time and attention to these things? No matter how horrible and seemingly may be the conditions in certain countries, sections, or places, you waste your time and destroy your own chances by dwelling on them. You should interest yourself in the world's becoming rich. Think of the riches the world is coming into instead of the poverty it is growing out of. And bear in mind that the only way in which you can assist the world in growing rich is by growing rich yourself through the creative method, not the competitive one. Give your attention wholly to riches. Do not focus on poverty. Whenever you think or speak of those who are poor, think and speak of them as those who are becoming rich, as those who are to be congratulated rather than pitied. Then they and others will catch the inspiration and begin to search for the way out. Because I say that you are to give your whole time and mind and thought to riches, it does not follow that you are to be so sordid or mean. To become really rich is the noblest aim you can have in life, for it includes everything else. The noblest. I remember looking that word up, it's like the most respected thing. To become really rich is the noblest aim you can have in life, for it includes everything else. On the competitive plane, the struggle to get rich is a godless scramble for power over others. But when we come into the creative mind, all this is changed. All that is possible in the way of greatness, of service, and lofty endeavor comes by way of getting rich. Because all is made possible by the use of things. You can aim at nothing so great or noble, I repeat, as to become rich. And you must fix your attention upon your mental picture of wealth to the exclusion of all that may tend to dim or obscure the vision. Some people remain in poverty because they are ignorant of the fact that there is wealth for them. And these can be taught by showing them the way to affluence in your own person and practice. Others are poor because while they feel that there is a way out, they are too intellectually indolent to put forth the mental effort necessary to find that way and travel it. For these, the very best thing you can do is to arouse their desire by showing them the happiness that comes from being rightly rich. Let's see them smiles. Just walk around smiling and be like, what's up with that? Okay, I want to get rich. Others are still poor because while they have some notion of science, they have become so swamped and lost in the maze of theories that they do not know which road to take. They try a mixture of many systems and fail in all. For these, again, the very best thing to do is show the right way in your own person and practice. An ounce of doing things is worth a pound of theorizing. The very best thing you can do for the whole world is to make the most of yourself. The very best thing you can do for the whole world is to make the most of yourself. You can serve God and humanity in no more effective way than by getting rich. No more effective way. That is, if you get rich by the creative method and not by the competitive one. Another thing, we assert that this book gives in detail the principles of the science of getting rich. And if that is true, you do not need to read any other book upon the subject. This may sound narrow and egotistical, but consider, there is no more scientific method of computation in mathematics than by addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. No other method is possible. There can be but one shortest distance between 2 points. There is only one way to think scientifically, and that is to think in the way that leads by the most direct and simple route to the goal. No one has yet formulated a briefer or less complex system than the one set forth here. It has been stripped of all non-essentials. When you commence on this, lay all others aside, put them out of your mind altogether. Read this book every day. Keep it with you, commit it to memory, and do not think about other systems and theories. If you do, you will begin to have doubts and to be uncertain and wavering in your thought. And then you will begin to make failures. After you have made good and become rich, you may study other systems as much as you please. And read only the most optimistic comments on the world's news, those in harmony with your picture. Also, do not dabble in theosophy, spiritualism, or kindred studies. Perhaps the dead still live and are near, but if they are, let them alone. Mind your own business. Wherever the spirits of the dead may be, they have their own work to do, and we have no right to interfere with them. We cannot help them, and it is very doubtful whether they can help us, or whether we have any right to trespass upon their time if they can. Let the dead and the hereafter alone, and solve your own problem. Get rich. Get rich. If you begin to mix with the occult, you will start mental cross currents, which will surely bring your hopes to shipwreck. Now, this and the preceding chapters have brought us to the following statement of basic facts. There is a thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which in its original state permeates, penetrates, and fills the interspaces of the universe. A thought in this substance produces the thing that is imaged by the thought. A person can form things in his thought, and by impressing his thought upon formless substance, can cause the thing he thinks about to be created. In order to do this, a person must pass from the competitive to the creative mind. He must form a clear mental picture of the things he wants, and hold this picture in his thoughts with the fixed purpose to get what he wants, and the unwavering faith that he does get what he wants, closing his mind against all that may tend to shake his purpose, dim his vision, or quench his faith. Closing his mind, closing her mind, closing your mind against all that may tend to shake your purpose, dim your vision, or quench your faith. And in addition to all this, we shall now see that he must live and act in a certain way. That concludes chapter 10. We're going to dive into chapter 11 right now. But before we do, cheers, congratulations. Take a deep breath. All this truth is incredible, huh? All right, chapter 11. You ready? Are you ready? I gotta feel you're ready. Okay, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling some major readiness. I'm feeling some major readiness. All right, chapter 11. Acting in the certain way. Thought is a creative power, or the impelling force which causes a creative power to act. Thinking in a certain way will bring riches to you, but you must not rely upon thought alone, paying no attention to personal action. That is a rock upon which many otherwise scientific thinkers meet shipwreck, the failure to connect thought with personal action. We have not yet reached the stage of development, even supposing such a stage to be possible, in which a person can create directly from formless substance without nature's processes or the work of human hands. A person must not only think, but his personal action must supplement his thought. By thought, you can cause the gold in the hearts of the mountains to be impelled toward you, but it will not mine itself, refine itself, point itself into double eagles, and come rolling along the road, seeking its way into your pocket. Under the impelling power of the Supreme Spirit, people's affairs will be so ordered that someone will be led to mine the gold for you. Others people's business transactions will be so directed that the gold will be brought to you. And you must so arrange your own business affairs that you may be able to receive it when it comes to you. Of course, we've progressed into like this hard labor he's talking about with hands, into the digital world where it's like these transactions are so much easier, but we still have to use our hands, right? Your thought makes all things, and animate and inanimate work to bring you what you want, but your personal activity must be such that you can rightly receive what you want when it reaches to you. You are not to take it as charity, nor to steal it. You must give every man more in use value than he gives you in cash value. The scientific use of thought consists in forming a clear and distinct mental image of what you want, in holding fast to your purpose to get what you want, and in realizing with grateful faith that you do get what you want. Again, he's talking about forming a clear and distinct mental image of what you want, holding it fast to your purpose to get what you want, and realizing with grateful faith that you do get what you want. You're claiming it. Do not try to project your thought in any mysterious or occult way with the idea of having it go out and do things for you. That is wasted effort and will weaken your power to think with sanity. The action of thought in getting rich is fully explained in the preceding chapters. Your faith and purpose positively impress your vision upon formless substance, which has the same desire for more life that you have. And this vision received from you sets all the creative forces at work in and through their regular channels of action, but directed toward you. It is not your part to guide or supervise a creative process. All you have to do with that is to retain your vision, stick to your purpose, and maintain your faith and gratitude. But you must act in a certain way so that you can appropriate what is yours when it comes to you, and so that you can meet the things you have in your picture and put them in their proper places as they arrive. You can really see the truth of this. When things reach you, they will be in your hand and the hands of others who will ask an equivalent for them. And you can only get what is yours by giving the other person what is rightfully his. Your pocketbook is not going to be transformed into a Fortunata's purse, which shall be always full of money without effort on your part. This is a crucial point in the science of getting rich, right here, where thought and personal action must be combined. There are very many people who consciously or unconsciously set the creative forces in action by the strength and persistence of their desires, but who remain poor because they do not provide for the reception of the thing they want when it comes. By thought, the thing you want is brought to you. By action, you receive it. Write that down. Let me repeat it for you. By thought, the thing you want is brought to you. It starts that. Okay? By action, you receive it. By thought, the thing I want is brought to me. By action, I receive it. Repeat it with me out loud, okay? By thought, the thing that I want is brought to me. By action, I receive it. Whatever your action is to be, it is evident that you must act now, capital N-O-W. You cannot act in the past, and it is essential to the clearness of your mental vision that you dismiss the past from your mind. You cannot act in the future, for the future is not here yet, and you cannot tell how you will want to act in any future contingency until that contingency has arrived. You guys get that last part? I can't tell how I want to act in a future contingency until that contingency has arrived. So why am I going to waste my time thinking about all the things of what's going to happen and what's not going to happen? I'll get to that when it comes. Right now, I got to do this now, this perfect thing now. Because you are not in the right business or the right environment now, do not think that you must postpone action until you get into the right business or environment. And do not spend time in the present taking thought as to be the best course in the possible future emergencies. Have faith in your ability to meet any emergency when it arrives. Have faith in your ability that whatever comes, I can meet it. I have the ability to take care of it when it happens. I don't need to think about it. Okay? I got to think about right now. If you act in the present with your mind on the future, your present action will be with a divided mind and will not be effective. Put your whole mind into present action. Do not give your creative impulse to original substance and then sit down and wait for results. If you do, you will never get them. Act now. There is never any time but now, and there never will be any time but now. If you are ever to begin to make ready for the reception of what you want, you must begin, capital N-O-W, now. Spell now backwards and you have what? When you start taking action and you act now, you have won. Now backwards is W-O-N. You've won. That's the win. And your action, whatever it is, must most likely be in your present business or employment, and must be upon the persons and things in your present environment. You cannot act where you are not. You cannot act where you have been, and you cannot act where you are going to be. You can act only where you are. Do not bother as to whether yesterday's work was well done or ill done. Do today's work well. Do not try to do tomorrow's work now. There will be plenty of time to do that when you get to it. Do not try by occult or mystical means to act on people or things that are out of your reach. Do not wait for a change of environment before you act. Get a change of environment by action. You can so act upon the environment in which you are now as to cause yourself to be transferred to a better environment. Hold with faith and purpose the vision of yourself in the better environment. Hold with faith and purpose the vision of yourself in the better environment. But act upon your present environment with all your heart, with all your strength, and with all your mind. Do not spend any time in daydreaming or castle building. Hold to the one vision of what you want and act now. Do not cast about seeking some new thing to do or some strange, unusual, or remarkable action to perform as a first step toward getting rich. It is probable that your actions, at least for some time to come, will be the same ones you have been performing for some time past. But you are to begin now to perform these actions in a certain way, which will surely make you rich. He's saying you're probably doing activities, but now you're going to do those activities differently. They're probably going to be the same activities, but you're not going to do them the same way. You're going to do them in this certain way. If you are engaged in some business and feel that it is not the right one for you, do not wait until you get into the right business before you begin to act. Do not feel discouraged or sit down and lament because you are misplaced. No one is so misplaced that he cannot find the right place. And no one is so involved in the wrong business that he cannot get into the right business. Hold a vision of yourself in the right business with the purpose to get into it and the faith that you will get into it and are getting into it, but act in your present business. Y'all catch that? Double tap if you catched it. Show the love if you catched it. Use your present business as the means of getting a better one. And use your present environment as the means of getting into a better one. Your vision of the right business, if held with faith and purpose, will cause the supreme power to move the right business toward you. And your action, if performed in a certain way, will cause you to move toward the business. If you are an employee or wage earner and feel that you must change places in order to get what you want, do not project your thought into space and rely upon it to get you another job. It will probably fail to do so. Hold the vision of yourself in the job you want while you act with faith and purpose on the job you have, and you will certainly get the job you want. Your vision and faith will set the creative force in motion to bring it toward you, and your action will cause the forces in your own environment to move you toward the place you want. In closing this chapter, we will add another statement to your syllabus. There is a thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which, in its original state, permeates, penetrates, and fills the inner spaces of the universe. A thought in this substance produces a thing that is imaged by the thought. A person can form things in his thought, and by impressing his thought upon formless substance can cause the thing he thinks about to be created. In order to do this, a person must pass from the competitive to the creative mind. He must form a clear mental picture of the things he wants, and holds this picture in his thoughts with the fixed purpose to get what he wants, and the unwavering faith that he does get what he wants, closing his mind to all that may tend to shake his purpose, dim his vision, or quench his faith, so that he may receive what he wants when it comes. A person must act now upon the people and things in his present environment. And that concludes the Read With Me session for today of The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. So powerful, so much truth. Let me know if you got something. This is absolutely, it never gets old, because our mind, we constantly, the first time you read it, or the second time you hear it, or the 50th time you hear it, you're at a whole new level of awareness, of an understanding, of a growth, and things hit you differently. But I'm super excited for you. I am super excited for you. Congratulations on all the riches, on implementing this, staying consistent, holding that vision in your mind, continuing to have that gratitude, and thanking God for what has already been done, what's on the way, what's already happened. What a beautiful way to live. What a beautiful truth to really understand. This is my mission and vision for my life, is to continue to get this truth out there. Truth. So, super excited for you. Hope you have a blessed evening, day, whenever you're reading this, and super excited for you. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you. And congratulations. Congratulations on all your success, on all your riches, on all the wealth and the inspiration that you provide to so many by just getting rich. So we'll see you in the next video when we dive into chapter 12, efficient action. Okay, we're going into efficient action. What else we got left? Efficient action and getting into the right business, the impression of increase, the advancing personality, and then we'll go into the summary of the science of getting rich. All right? High five. Have an amazing day, and we'll see you soon.